In the bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player. This is the Big Gabe. That puts the Big Gabe into the Big Gabe Weekly. HeroMarine. And on the top left side, our red Terran player from Team Liquid. This is Clem. Alright, so, getting this up, getting this running. Excited to see what comes out of this TvT. You know, I said last time it's very one-sided between HeroMarine and Clem. It was a 3-1, but it was the way that the games went that HeroMarine won were very, like, one-sided in his favor and very quick. And then Clem actually fought back really nicely in Game 3, only to kind of flop in Game 4. I've had this thing the last few weeks as well, where I've been saying I really think HeroMarine just does so well, has seed number 1, has, you know, some easier matches on the way to the finals that just take a bit less time, and I think, you know, he always ends up playing a little bit of an easier semi-final. And because of that, you know, usually Clem comes out of, like, for example, Clem or Showtime keep getting to the finals coming out of, like, an epic Game 5 series against each other, and they're, like, a bit worn out. And it really is true, like, to go from that and 5 minutes later start a new best of 5, it's rough, it's difficult. Especially against HeroMarine, who's obviously been sat around waiting for that game to start for a while. So, truly a believer that recently HeroMarine... Don't get me... every time I say this, I'm not trying to talk down HeroMarine, but it's definitely a bit of an advantage he has. The runs he makes, you know, he makes his runs better, easier, and because of that, he does a very good job. And you know, almost gives himself an advantage going into the finals. But I truly believe that actually today... Clem's not had any of those grueling best of 5s, and while HeroMarine was waiting for the finals to start, it's not been like that. You know, it's not like Clem came out of 5 very difficult maps against Showtime like he did last time, and then he, you know, just didn't look his best self afterwards. So yeah, I'm kind of a bit of a believer in kind of that, and I think today we can kind of put that aside and just say this is a pretty nice, neat little TvT we'll have between HeroMarine and Clem to see who can make the most of this. I'm excited, honestly. I feel like TvTs between these two can be really, really fun. I did say for a long time I felt like Clem's weak spot was maybe his TvT more so than other matchups. Not really sure how much I believe in that anymore. I think it's just very hard to be super consistent in TvT. That was a really nice micro from Clem, by the way. I think it's just hard to be super consistent in TvT simply because so much of it can come down to just the slight differences in execution in like a single fight or single position, or like it's very scrappy and back and forth the way that drops happen. So I really feel like a lot of the top Terrans in Europe can really just take maps and series off each other whenever. There's not one guy that consistently does that more so than everyone else, which is another reason for me to be excited about this final in particular. Is nice little play here from HeroMarine trying to use the Reaper to get info, and he actually gets to see the stop one and tech lap, so yeah, pretty good information. Backs away, doesn't lose anything, of course. His orbital just a little bit later, but very minor differences between the two here for the most part. As we get into this, again, grand finals of today's ESL Open Cup Europe. And what's up, the Lovecraftian for the Twitch Prime? Coming in for the 2-month resub. Welcome back. Wardy Boom in the chat, the Wardy Bane. Thank you so much for the 2-month resub. Welcome back. Good to have you. Reaper down the right side is going to be caught by the couple Hellions, and the Reaper is trying to make a run for it, but is going to get the kill. Third CC from Clem in the main base. Going to see the third CC of HeroMarine on the right side as well. I'm just going to be seeing the Cyclone up through the middle of the map. Raven on the way on either side. Siege tank coming up from both here at the moment, as you just see a couple of SCVs going to be popping out. The depots continuing up, as well as our army from HeroMarine wants to make its way across. This Reaper's going to hop into the main, a little look to see what's going on. Walks right into the Marines. Again, mostly looking for information, though, at HeroMarine. I mean, the confidence to build that third base out in location just speeds up his advantage in this game right now. 3 SCV lead will probably lead up to a 5 SCV lead or so, because, again, this just morphs into an orbital A faster and A, B in position. It's just the little things right now. A little bit advantageous for HeroMarine. Kind of like where he's at, but far from being anything game-ending, of course. We're still yet to see a real proper fight break out in this game. And that will be much more kind of decisive than anything that we're talking about right now. That is for sure. As a Hellion comes through, Cyclone gets the lock on, able to pick that up. There's a couple of Ravens, a couple of Vikings setting up together. Scan up into the main base and just going to be seeing our army of Clem continuing to set up. I mean, he is the one that kind of feels like he almost wants to be the aggressor. I don't know why. Like, before he moved out, obviously now he's moving out, it's like, obviously, but like, I feel like he, just because he has been, HeroMarine has just been so happy to just take his bases so quickly, keep on expanding, and just not really stop at all. That's interesting, as our Marine tank, Viking, Raven army now down to the bottom side. Looking toward maybe a bit of a push forward up to this high ground, as we'll see our army around the right. No real way in for Clem here, right? I mean, it's one army. HeroMarine's in position. He's tracking it pretty well also. Good movements. Keeping an eye on exactly where Clem is going to at all points in time. There's a couple of extra Vikings going to be popping from this starport very shortly. And Clem just bringing the Marine tank force with the Vikings back around the right. Yeah, just seen the couple of Ravens auto turret. No, this is nice. Clem's going to get some eco damage done. That does take away some energy from the Ravens, so maybe it gives HeroMarine some counterattack potential. What's really critical is the question of, does Clem get out of here with these Ravens alive? If he does, that's really amazing. You can see HeroMarine is kind of hunting them. He knows they've got to turn up at some point. Can Clem do anything to kind of dodge down into the corner? They kind of actually slowed down for a moment there. It's going to be a one-shot on this Raven. Oh, not quite, but full energy Raven goes down. Yeah, the other one gets away. Obviously, it's a shame that the full energy one goes down because, well, I mean, if the low energy one goes down, it's just, just in case kind of thing, just in case. Marine's tank's going to take down this set of rocks on the right side. These 2 Marines will fight a Hellion up on the top. A couple of these Marines pushing through as well. Just going to be seeing still the Vikings on the far left, and combat shield still coming into play as we do go into 2-2 upgrades. And yeah, I mean, slight advantage here. Marine's still right. Extra Raven. He's actually a lot more Vikings, a couple of tanks down. I mean, it's like a unit here and a unit there. It's really hard to distinguish between the two right now, as, again, HeroMarine a bit faster out to the command center, so 4th base a little earlier from HeroMarine. Clem is on the way to it, though. He's well on the way. He's just not there just yet. CV's transferring over. A couple extra Vikings setting up in the main. +1 vehicle weapons on that armory, as we do have Marine Medevac coming down to the bottom side of the map. Yeah, setting up a little bit, and just going to be having the Medevac and Marines out around to the right. Marines, Medevacs into the center. Now Vikings are still set up as well. 2-2 from both players. Marines by the dozen being made. And 2 more starports from HeroMarine. In a way, that's kind of what I expected from this series, right? A a game or a set of games where we get into some macro and it's really going to be that back and forth kind of stalematy TvT. But you've really got to get creative with some of the plays to get stuff done here and to get damage out on the map. I was going to make a push down here. I mean, this is nice because it's got a bit of a split up, right? This is why HeroMarine is not really out of position, but maybe gives Clem a chance to get in position. And he is going to, you know, sense tower for tank. Double Matrix over here. He's actually going to make his way in. So he matrixes 2 tanks. The 1 tank sieged up in the back, obviously a little bit out of range. So he pushes the SCVs away, and that 3rd is falling down. SCVs are going to be pulled to repair it. At the same time, these tanks are going to back off. He actually gets the kill. Not enough repairing there for HeroMarine. And now Clem's going to lift up and get the hell out. Nice play by Clem, and he really is able to strike and deal some damage. Now, HeroMarine's got a new command center to take that position in the next few moments, and Clem did pay for a tank or 2, a few units to be able to deal with all of that. Oh, this is not good for Clem. He's just had all of his tanks caught out of position. That's really awful. Anti-armor missiles on both sides. He does get in to save 2 tanks, but that's really a very minimal save considering the situation. Wow, HeroMarine's just going to go for it. Matrixes on the tanks. He's going to just steam through. Wow, this came out of nowhere. He's going to kill every single tank. Megavax is going to go down because of the air control. The Liberators aren't going to do anything for Clem. He's making 4 Vikings at a time, but it's just too late. Even if you end up trading with Vikings now, the damage is done, right? You've lost all of your Medivacs, and this is just going to be Clem just lost the game. That was brutal. Like, really brutal. He just got caught out of position. HeroMarine jumps on all the tanks. Terrible fight from Clem, and he just can't get any control back in the game at all. Lands the Vikings to keep pushing through right now. He knows his potential. He knows he can end this game. And he's got Liberators on the 3rd and the 4th bases at the same time, so he's shutting down a lot of eco here, there, and everywhere. A couple tanks sieged up are very likely to maybe clean up here, or at least hold on the ground for a little while. It doesn't really clean up. I just want to rewind back to that moment. It was really just Clem. He made these couple cool moves and really, again, just caught out of position. As he's just backing away, like he's coming around. He's like, oh, cool, get to my zone. And HeroMarine just catches it at the right time that the tanks turn to attack. And Clem's Marine's out of position. And that's an unfortunate moment as he's just trying to gather everything in his army together and it all falls apart at once. Well, it's actually been our shortest stream on a Monday in a very long time. I talked about this a little bit earlier. As HeroMarine up 1-0 is our blue Terran in the top right, taking on the red Terran in the bottom left, Team Liquid's Clem. But yes, I woke up today expecting to do Gold Series Team Championship, and apparently I missed the memo that this was the off week for the Gold Series Team Championship. And because of that, I was obviously up a bit too late to start with the ESL Open Cup, and I thought by the time I was going to be ready to stream, usually the ESL Open Cup career would be kind of ending, so I kind of just skipped it. Turns out it was one of the longest ESL Open Cup careers we've had in an absolute eternity, so probably should have done it. It led to me basically, again, like I say, doing the shortest Monday stream we've done in a very long time. It's been a very long time. That I think I don't ever think I've only shown up for just the European Cup. I'm pretty sure I've always done an event before the European Cup, so this was a very weird experience for me. It's kind of a weird experience casting the finals and being like kind of full of energy still. I'm kind of like, well, guys, you know, it's like the start, you know, only halfway through the day, right? Like, what the hell's happening? So, yeah. If you usually watch the EU Cup and you're like, Wardy, you got a bit more kind of spring in your voice today, it's probably because of that, so been a bit of a weird day. Honestly, I felt like a bit of a tip. So my girlfriend, she had to go home. I was like, sorry, I'm casting in an hour and a half. She leaves. And then I'm like, I'm actually not casting for another 6.5 hours, I guess. Absolutely outplayed. Perfect disengagement. What observer mode do they pick to show upgrade countdowns? It's called WCS Game Hard. It's an extension. So you have to host a game. It's a mod. It's an extension mod. So it's like you have to host the game with WCS Game Hard mod enabled. So you can't watch... You can't use it on ladder games or anything, right? So it's the WCS Game Hard mod. So basically, if you're hosting a custom game, right, you know, create... Instead of clicking create game, click create with mod and search WCS Game Hard, basically. Bunker from Clem down on the natural. As the Reaper pops out, going to be moving through reactor, and it's going to start on that barracks. So reactor into tech lab from HeroMarine, both players on the expansion. Clem is much faster as we get this one started. So obviously Clem's going to be on a bit better eco. As the starboard started around the same time. I mean, again, from HeroMarine, it's a little bit of a loss on the rock, paper, scissors effect of TvT, because for the most part here, this was a, for the most part, the build HeroMarine does is mostly like a defensive setup against someone going, proxy rack sweeper or two-rack or double gas aggressively. Obviously, Clem kind of just wins this slight build order advantage, but it's never going to be something so big that, it changes the game. And there is still some extra pressure you can apply as HeroMarine. He'll have a Cyclone here very early, and he's going to make a medevac, so he's going to go like Marine Cyclone kind of drop. And we'll see if he can get any damage from that. A couple SCVs. You don't even... I mean, yeah, basically 1 or 2 SCVs all you need to get back in terms of the work account. And it's just because that mule is a bit faster. The orbital already morphed in here from Clem, so you should take, like I say, about a 2 SCV lead or somewhere. Something around that sort of space. It's going to be seeing our orbital come out of the natural. Raven in the main, as we do have the Cyclone from HeroMarine continuing down through the bottom side. A couple of extra SCVs continuing to come on in, and just going to be seeing there's that drop we were talking about from HeroMarine. Actually, sorry, I didn't realize he already had a tank out. So he's actually going to go tank Marine drop with the Cyclone to backup. This is actually something that Clem played against earlier in this event against Acheron. It was a bit different. Acheron's was off a much later expansion, but it was the same idea of this 4 Marine, 1 tank drop, and Clem is in position right away. HeroMarine should not siege up here. If he sieges up here, I really disagree with it. And he doesn't siege up. He just kind of sits and trades out. The good news is, obviously, then you can save that siege tank, which is the important part of this, although got a little bit scary there, didn't it? Just a little bit. I was just going to be seeing our medevac continue to come up. Marine's going to be stunned with the Cyclone. SCV is going to be bearing this Cyclone. And you see the Hellion moving down the bottom side. I see Clem on a nice quick stim pack. His 3rd CC a little bit ahead as well. I like it. HeroMarine, I don't feel like did really enough damage with this little push across to justify his commitment. So Clem comes out of this with the advantages for the moment. Looking to be pretty decent here. Marine around that right side. Couple of extra racks building from HeroMarine too. Just going to see the couple extra Vikings coming in. Stimpack has finally started off. There's our Marines, Ravens, and tanks on the way down the side. Medevac going to boost through. That's the Hellion going to pick this Marine off, and again, HeroMarine just kind of defending, map controls. These Marines can get into that main base and deal some damage. Let's see what he can do as Clem takes up 3rd just a little bit more quickly. Can he get in a position to really take advantage of this? Back into the back of this mineral line, and SCV is already in trouble. Well, I actually kind of worried for Clem here. He is going to drop Autotos to try and fight this, but that's a lot of tanks. They're going to put out some serious hurt right now. This tank of Clem does not really last long at all. This one tank defensively is all he's really got. This medevac stays alive too. He's just pulling so many units into the main and natural with such a little drop. Oh my god, he's going to drop the Vikings on top of the tank. It's going to get cleaned out. What a massive play, because this just opens this position. This tank here is going to just be repaired, so it's going to be safe. But obviously just pushing forward here. HeroMarine is in range of the 3rd base, and HeroMarine, man, he's so freaking good. There's a reason he's just consistently in the late stages of the tournament. in this ESL Open Cup weekly, and right now he's showing us that he is really maybe even just the better TvT player. Clem comes in to break on through, but at a huge expense. Nice micro on this one Sun Siege tank to save it. It would have been killed. I mean, HeroMarine comes out of this. A lot of workers ahead. He is down on army supply. We'll see if Clem could do anything aggressively, but I really like that HeroMarine still has a Raven alive. A Matrix can go a long way defensively. He's obviously now got his own stim pack ready. He's on his way to combat shields in 1-1, though he will be behind on all of those upgrades. Just going to be seeing our army of Clem pushing across. I mean, it definitely feels, as Clem right now, you just lost a lot of workers, a lot of mining time. It feels like you want to do something at this stage. And again, he has the upgrades to maybe try and get something done. Especially right now where HeroMarine only actually has one tank. That's a major issue. So, yeah, I liked what HeroMarine did, but has he just lost a bit too much in the process? Because now there's siege from Clem. It really is just kind of, what we just saw redone, but he tries to lift into Vikings, and that will not work. That's the issue, right? I feel like HeroMarine still has the utility in this army to defend something like this. With the Raven, the Vikings, it really limits what you can do. The Raven going to drop an auto turret. That scares it away. He's just going to stim into this. There's only 2 tank siege. Ooh. With the auto turret, maybe he could have gone for that, but without combat shields, it is scary. You're down 1-1, so if the Marines start fighting as well, you really are just taking a bad fight. An unfavorable engagement, so I don't mind the decision. If you could find the medevac, I mean, that's a nice pickoff, right? If you can just shut that down, especially right now. There's no Marines here, so it's free pickings, although HeroMarine also has to ask, where the hell are those Marines? Where has the other medevac gone? And that's why instantly he's up over here, ready for the drop defense. So, again, just really identifying what was missing from that army and what Clem had done based on what he was able to see. And again, another sign of a great player here is Marines and tanks are going to pick their way through these rocks. These rocks look like they're going to go down pretty darn quick. Now, we do have Marines and a medevac through the top side as well. Still just sat around and going to make a bit of approach, perhaps, as we do see a whole chunk of siege tanks from Clem out down on this low ground. Getting sieged up already. Here comes the medevac of Clem straight through into this natural. I mean, there is nothing to defend this right away. Tank siege is up. A few Marines simming over, but he only dropped 2 of the Marines. The other 6 are going to go in the main. HeroMarine, by the way, a lot of cooldown supply depots here. Maybe not the best macro. If we look at the finer details of this game, missing some supply depot builds. Maybe a supply block more than he'd like to be, as HeroMarine is going to catch a Clem army on this right side, and tanks are getting chased down. 2 tanks, 3 tanks, 4 tanks dead before they siege. Oh no! I mean, that's massive, of course. And now we're going to see another tank going down already. And now there's only 1 tank left over here. I mean, Clem does actually take a good fight with the Marines really trading out nicely. This medevac's being dealt with. 8 workers lost, and HeroMarine still in a worker lead. He'll get this tank as Clem tries to unsiege to leave. But HeroMarine is just having none of it and looking really good once again in this game. Up 30 supply at the tail end of these trades. Marine tank Viking out the front. We're going to see the rest of this coming through. And still just going to see the rest of Clem's army moving around. Tanks are going to siege. Moving down to the bottom here, Marine still pushing down. Vikings gonna fire, and a couple of these medevacs already dropping. Tanks get siege. I mean, from here, Marine's taking a pretty good fight, man. Those tanks got way more shots off than I think Clem expected them to. I think Clem kind of thought he was going to be able to get rid of those pretty quickly. And that was just not the case. Those tanks got like 3 or 4 volleys off, and that was a lot of dead Marines. A lot more than expected. Well, HeroMarine obviously backs away. He's got his own 4th base up and running. Clem's got his, his 4th up. It's just you are kind of fighting behind for the rest of it. Down at the bottom left side, tanks are sieging Vikings. Again, an opening shot I saw on the medevac. Marine tank still in the middle of the map here. Gonna push through. These tanks in a bit of trouble. Marines trying to get a bit of a surrounding on this. The Vikings coming through. I mean, these tanks are going to go down, and again, at some point, this kind of becomes a numbers game. And even if Clem can trade well, he's also trading well against someone who's just up so much supply that eventually, how many times can he trade effectively, right? Because if he trades effectively, but you still run out of units, you're still out of units, is what I'm trying to say. Another tank shot coming through. Lib sieges, and I mean, this Lib's gonna take him down pretty quickly. Yeah, maybe HeroMarine force. I mean, arguably, is he forcing the issue a bit too much? It's one of these positions where it is always going to be difficult to break Clem, and do you necessarily need to break him right here and now? Well, no. And that's why maybe HeroMarine could back away and just take a 5th base, but at the same time, there's also something to be said for kind of taking the advantage while you have it and running with it, right? Because if you give Clem some time here, maybe you give him the chance to find a position to drop across the map and you out a location, right? It gives Clem the chance to maybe find you making a mistake. So you can, at the same time, you can kind of understand why HeroMarine is maybe somewhat eager to just dive in, trade a bit ineffectively, but get to the point of ending this game. This is going to be a dead orbital if we're not careful. He's going to stim for it. He wants it, and he wants it real bad. Clem just knows it's not going to survive. GG's. HeroMarine gets the 2-0 lead in this grand final, and we are on match point. Let's go into game number 3, because this is potentially our final map. Okay, let's move out of song. Let's move into TvT, because honestly, HeroMarine playing a better game right now in this series. Up to 0, and really just looking fantastic. As in the top right side, the red Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. 0-2 down. He'll never go down without a fight, but it's just the little things. Just caught out of position a couple of times. Couple of trades that don't quite go his way. It's been a little bit rough so far, honestly. Been a little bit rough so far. As we get ourselves up and running, Clem will bring this SCV around into the natural, and we're coming up on either side. Factory is building from HeroMarine, 3rd CC. Sorry, it's natural CC on the way up. But yeah, HeroMarine taking this double gas opener again, so much faster factory. Pulled out of gas, though. Looks as though we will be seeing an expansion from him, so very similar to that last game where Clem maybe gets that slight eco lead early, going 1 gas expand. Very punishable by like 2 racks Reaper proxy or so, but I feel like HeroMarine is one of those players that doesn't do that all so much, so I feel like it's almost a very safe way to open up. Let's do CR Reaper. We're going to join up with the Marine just on top of the ramp bunker. Going to be finishing up fairly soon. Hey, what's up? GFH1 for the Prime sub. Welcome. I say, guys, you've all been so very generous to me today. It's really been kind of crazy stream. It's been a while since we've had a stream go this crazy on the subs and stuff, so thank you, everybody, for being so awesome. Appreciate you guys showing some love today. Feels good coming back from a couple days off, feeling refreshed. You guys didn't forget I existed. Sometimes it is a danger, that's for sure. Gonna hop up. Hellion gets pushed back. Just hopping up and just gonna see the few units of Clem trying to push forward here a little bit. Just still kind of holding in the front there, and just going to see the Raven on the way up on both sides. I'm making him push out. Honestly, HeroMarine's the one that's still trading well. He's going to turn back in. He wants the units. He's got the Cyclone as well. And gets the lock-on on the Cyclone, but he loses it. Apparently, he must have lost high ground vision for a moment. He's going to lose the Cyclone too, and Clem takes a massive early game advantage. That's huge. That's crazy as our Raven pops out here from Clem. It's going to move to the natural as a few Marines joining in the center. Yeah, a couple of Marines in this bunker. The rest of the Marines, the tank, the Raven, just in the natural as well. And, well, this tank from here, Marine sets up on the natural as we do see racks onto the reactor and all the rest of this. A lot of build-up right now. A lot of getting ready to go. A lot of seeing where we're going to be ending up. Alright, well, stim on either side as we get this underway. Just gonna see those engineering bays coming through here from HeroMarine. Yeah, I feel like HeroMarine got a bit over-aggressive there. Really felt like he had something, and then this really wasn't the case. It might have been okay if he was able to keep that Cyclone lock on going up the ramp, but he just lost the vision with the Hellion dying, and that really led to him just losing the lock on that maybe could have at least won the Cyclone battle, and then maybe at least trade Cyclone for Cyclone. It wouldn't be so bad. 6 Marines, 2 tanks, and a Raven overhead. HeroMarine is going to move out to the front as the orbital command will come through and land up in a moment. This Marine will go down. The Cyclone getting a lock on. Tank is here to push the Cyclone away. Vikings, Raven, Marines, and tanks all pushing down that bottom left-hand side. There's a few Marines going to show up. Just going to see a scan coming through already, and these tanks still holding strong. On the far left, the Cyclone patrolling a little bit, and Clem again back around. Some openings. I mean, he's on the supply lead at the moment, but we have seen swings and roundabouts in this TvT already. A little afraid that Clem is going to be down on upgrades quite heavily. He's only still on +1 attack as well, as he's just going to go for this right now. Tank's going to pull back just a little bit deeper. That one first Matrix. Wait, was he not in range of this? What's happening? Why is this tank not already dead? Oh my god, he gets it in the end. Now he's going to hit a Matrix on another of these tanks. Scan is there though, and he's got tank of his own getting a few shots off to begin. The Vikings landing though is big, and HeroMarine's going to have to give up the third, so it's a well-executed attack from Clem so far. And really, obviously, just a scenario where he does just have a lot more at the moment. Again, given time, HeroMarine might have those upgrades coming into play, but time is not on HeroMarine's side right now because Clem knows his advantage, and he's going to push with his advantage. And that's going to be the... I think this can kind of just end games, right? I mean, you're not mining off a third base right now. That's being pushed back into the main. So already Clem is basically taking like a 15-worker lead. HeroMarine just lifted up his natural command center. Wow. What the hell is HeroMarine's plan? Like, you've got to have some kind of plan here. You're just going to give up your natural mining. So now you've got like, you're basically working on 20 workers versus 64. And Clem knows like something is up. That Raven flank comes in. He is going to kill the Raven now before he can do anything. One auto turret is all he gets out of this. He drops an auto turret in defense. Marines are stimming to chase. As Clem trying to get the hell out of there. HeroMarine's going to pull SCVs across the map with this, but well, he is going to get some tanks. I mean, now he's got the upgrade advantage as well. If he cuts off these Vikings, okay. I can kind of become a believer in this, right? You're chasing down these Vikings and so on. Oh my god, there's still more Marines and the tank here from Clem that'll go down too. HeroMarine takes an army supply lead with that upgrade advantage we've been talking about. And he's going to be able to reset to 3 bases after honestly minimizing damage taken by a huge amount. That was sick. I mean, is HeroMarine going to be able to push in here and fight? The thing is, these Vikings don't actually add much on the ground, you know, until they land on the ground, which is obviously not really what you want to use them for. HeroMarine just trying to go for it. I think he sees his advantage being that combat shield is not done from Clem, so he's just trying to strike, but maybe trying to strike just a little bit too soon. Could he have backed away from this? He actually might have been able to, in all honesty. It might not have been so bad for him. Marines, the medevacs, the tank all backing away to the left side then, as we'll see here. Marine will take the forward third position. Medevac still setting up. Do have a bit of an army from here and Marine moving through. Let's see a few Marines dropping down. Marine going to take that watchtower then, and we do see Clem backing off, but Clem's still on the advantage overall. Marine's back over here. I'm just going to be seeing Clem then is... well, just taking it patiently. He's actually going to take the upgrade lead in the end with that +2 attack, and maybe that's when he'll look to strike once more, but well handled. I am actually impressed what HeroMarine was able to do in this game, because they really felt like he gave himself a fighting chance, which I think is quite impressive, considering how things were going. Because it really felt like things were actually going downhill pretty quickly. Going through a couple of these Marines going down. Clem pushing into the middle of the map. On the top side gets picked off. Clem still pushing down the bottom, and 2-2 upgrades on the way from here. Marine setting up as well, and just going to be seeing the few Marines leading the charge. They're going to pick off one Marine on this high ground. Again, big Marine tank force pushing down through the center. Marines way to the side. A couple Marines getting picked off, and just going to be seeing HeroMarine around into the middle of this. Here we go with Clem. He doesn't have, again, a lot of utility. He's got the one Liberator, and that's going to be a big part of just pushing back the siege tank line to really get himself into a winning fighting position almost. The tanks are going to unsiege. I mean, the Marines are Clem pushing through. We do have on the right side Marines unloading and going in for this planetary fortress. Marine is going to get picked off as well as tanks again sieged up, and a couple libs also going to show up right now. We're going to see our Marines kind of thinking about pushing through into this. That Liberator is quite nice, able to pick away at a whole bunch of this right now. This is the whole point of the Liberator, right? Although Clem actually lost his... he's got 5 Vikings still. Where the hell are they? They're just not really here. HeroMarine's not really doing anything else around the map though, right? So he's going to get another siege tank kill here. And again, slowly but surely, Clem is pushing into the third base of HeroMarine while he sits on 4 bases, about to be 5 of his own. And, well, we kind of know where this one is headed, as HeroMarine is setting up the flank to maybe try break out of this. Looking to come in from that top and this bottom side. Here he goes, coming through. And the tank fight kind of goes up to the top side for the most part. He does counter the tanks of Clem pretty quickly here. Clem is down in an armor upgrade. This is not going to be enough from HeroMarine, as Clem has reinforcements showing up. And it's GG, and Clem, like I said, will not diving in the bottom right-hand side. Still a match point. Let's see if you can close out here on Submarine. This is HeroMarine taking on the Red Terran in the top left from Team Liquid. It is Clem. As we get into game number 4 in just a little bit. Max dropping down the main. Waiting to see where this goes. This time, Clem double gassing it while it will be HeroMarine to take a bit of a faster expansion. I wouldn't be surprised if Clem cranked out something really aggressive this time around. You know, really focus on an early push or so. Factory building up in this main base. Hey, what's up, Star Pants? Love the name. Thank you so much for the Prime Gaming subscription. Thank you for supporting the channel here tonight as we wrap up the ESL Open Cup Europe. Factory gonna finish up, and Clem, he has pulled out a gas, so it will be an expansion from him. HeroMarine gonna offset the danger of one gas expanding on submarine by expanding high ground. This also allows him to not SCV scout, which actually saves him a little bit of extra income. So that's also like an added little bonus here. So HeroMarine feeling probably pretty okay about this, especially as nothing really shows up aggressively from Clem just yet. Clem doesn't really properly scout himself, so he doesn't quite know what his opponent's up to. The high ground CC does put this low ground CC from Clem into a little bit of a better spot. The time saved from floating down just catches Clem up a little bit. So it gives, you know, it basically gives a slight advantage to the double gas expanding player. But of course, it might just be necessary based on some other bits and pieces. The Reaper popping up here is going to get chased away by the Reaper of HeroMarine in position. And these couple of Hellions out down to the low ground now. Reaper and the Hellions of HeroMarine moving around. Liberator building up from HeroMarine as well. That orbital command going to lift off, move to the natural. As we continue to set this up, more Hellions will start to move out the front, so away they go. Siege tank is building on the main base, and just going to rally out to the front here as this bunker is going to be done in a few moments as well. It's a little bit of setting up right now, a little bit of getting things going. And there's that Raven coming through with the couple of extra Marines on the way out from Clem. Just getting into our next stage of this. Just trying to see what the next step will really be as a siege tank. It's started. Again, it's a very aggressive map, and a lot of the time on this map, you actually see players sometimes kind of skipping the third CC. Kind of a little bit more than often, more than usual. This, you know, third CC is obviously pretty common to come down around about now in a TvT, but sometimes players will skip here on submarine because it's very easy to get into this position here, and with tanks and Vikings, you can almost win the game from that spot. And if you go 3cc and your opponent doesn't go 3cc and they attack you, that can be almost impossible to break. So it kind of leads into that matter of, do you risk going 3cc? Do you play like extra units yourself and go from there? Or, you know, how do you move about that basically? Liberator up the left side is going to get a siege up, and that's going to be a couple SCVs going down. Clem hasn't noticed, so slightly late to respond there. There's two SCVs off the start. This Liberator getting some value. It's a lot of Hellions as well from HeroMarine. It's 8 Hellions. It's a lot more than what you'd usually see. This double Reaper shows up, and Clem's actually going to get even more SCVs than what HeroMarine got with a Liberator. So his Reaper's having a pretty darn good time. He'll even trade out for Marine as well before hopping in the main. Just, I mean, I would have imagined you might want to run around for a bit further confirmation of what's up, but maybe missed that opportunity. Anyway, still not bad. 4 SCV kills. And again, both on the way to that third. So again, they took kind of their time about going to the third base, but they did go there in the end. HeroMarine takes a 4th gas. Is there any intention of maybe playing mech here? I don't think so. I think it's just the cost of the Raven and the siege tanks. Clem takes his 4th gas pretty quickly. It's just he's already started up that stim pack upgrade, so a little different there. Love the grenade, popping a few Marines down on HP. Starport to the reactor, Rex to the tech labs. Just a bit of a different route to the same sort of end game. Well, not end game, but same sort of ending position of what they want to do in the mid game here. That's for sure. couple racks will go down. And in the center trying to get through. A couple of tanks pretty quick to push those Hellions away. I'm taking some presence on the map. The problem is with Hellions here from HeroMarine, like, what are they really expected to do? Do they join up in a big way in a fight? Well, not really. Like, if they got, like, big shots off of Marines, then it's great. Could they counterattack? Well, yeah, kind of, maybe. I mean, against 2 Vikings and a tank, I guess they might not do so well. There's not a lot on that third base to pick away at. He's going to see the third base is there, though. I mean, Clem is getting in position over here, and he's going to take down 1 tank to begin with, and that's fantastic. And he's just straight up walking into the natural. I feel like Clem almost doesn't quite believe his own position here, as he gets really deep on that natural, and he knows exactly the range he can play with, and he's just cutting off the natural in the third base, and that's huge. Lost some SCVs to that, what we talked about just before. There's going to be an auto turret off between the Ravens, the Vikings. The Vikings were kind of winning out for HeroMarine, but then the auto turrets will outnumber, so then he backs away, but he will still have a Viking advantage here. Ravens from both players went down in the end. Okay, big Viking advantage to HeroMarine as he continues to make pickoffs. And HeroMarine, again, very responsible, just abandons this natural super quickly, minimizing any SCV losses, so it's really possible for him to turn around and to recover from this, like we kind of saw in that previous game as well. On Ice and Chrome, really giving himself some chances by not overcommitting in too soon, just because, you know, he wants to try and save a base that maybe can't be saved, right? This is a pretty fun Viking fight as well. It's still going the way of HeroMarine just about. 2 new Vikings will offset the 1 Viking left over from Clem as he has to, you know, send his Vikings across the map. Well, that was an interesting shot for a moment. Was there not vision there? HeroMarine, oh, he gets it now. Oh, Clem loses vision, so he's actually going to lose a tank. Oh, he makes the push forward at the same time. Clem doesn't have high ground vision. No, this tank's still dealing damage. No, the Vikings there actually in the end. Oh my god, this is super chaotic. It's hard to really track everything happening at the same time. Again, it comes down to this Viking duel in a big way. As this Orbital in trouble, but not really enough trouble, I think, for HeroMarine to be super worried. He's going to have 1-1 upgrades in a moment, and that should be big. He's missing combat shield, though, so HeroMarine needs to get that upgrade ASAP here. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this. I'm going to see tank shot is good for the moment. I mean, you've got a Viking advantage again for HeroMarine, and this time it means that Clem just won't really get much more out of this. He loses a tank. Yeah, I think Clem is held off. Still worried that HeroMarine doesn't go combat shield, though that really is a missing kind of part of this. And Clem already has the armory for 2-2, so a lot of HeroMarine's upgrade advantages are disappearing, slash obviously not an upgrade advantage to be down combat shield. And he realizes that now, so that's a painful 79 seconds while you wait for it to complete. You just can't really justify pushing into a fight for sure. You're going to lose anything that's kind of Marine on Marine focus, and obviously if you're going to be pushing into a fight, that is very Marine on Marine focus. As, ooh, that Viking went forward a long way. He's getting a lot of medevac kills with these Vikings now. And obviously Clem decided to add medevacs instead of further Vikings, but it really is still paying off for HeroMarine. And a lot of these kills initially. He's going to get a lock on with the Cyclone. Actually will finish off a siege tank. Cute little bits and pieces, like a real, just very, like, minute details, micro war kind of thing going on. These Marines, you can see from HeroMarine, does not want to commit. He doesn't want to stem into any sort of tank fight. He knows the weakness of not having combat shield, and he really plays around it well for the moment. It's a 4th base is on the way from Clem, but it's already well on the way for HeroMarine. Question is being able to move out and take that. Obviously, Clem's got the position to maybe make that a little bit more easily done. These few tanks setting up around the right side, gonna get sieged, and refinery in a little bit of trouble for sure right away here. So problem is the high ground vision, right? And you just don't have it as Clem to really take advantage of where you are. I love this double drop around the bottom side. It can go into the main if he wants to, and that can be really cute. HeroMarine just has no vision around this bottom side in the slightest. So yeah, it's gonna get straight in here. Marines in a tank, unloading, picking off a Marine already. The SCV is going down. Marines of HeroMarine showing up to push back against this. The Vikings are here to pick away the medevacs. They're going to go down very easily. The siege tank will also drop at the same time. Middle of the map, there's a bit of a catch from Clem. These medevacs need to find a way out of here, perhaps, because I don't see what they do. And also, we mentioned the armory earlier, but you're about to see the 2-2 come into effect of Clem. And that's now going to be an upgrade lead that Clem holds going into this next one. You see this fourth base in position. Clem is going to have his not too much later, despite the CC obviously building pretty slowly. HeroMarine wants the fourth base badly. He's got a lot of workers in his favor, so he does really want to keep this fourth base up and running, that's for sure. He's back around the bottom side. Tank setting up. Marine tank army around the right side, trying to find Clem and get in a position. I mean, this previous job didn't do much for Clem in the end on this bottom side, but I like it that he's ramping it up a little bit. HeroMarine's not really respected it. He did add a sensor tower on. He is on the way to send a Viking. I thought he was on the way with a little bit more, but apparently no. There's a big attack in the main base, and obviously Clem, on top of production, he has a real chance to make something work. HeroMarine trying to push in the center. He gets a siege tank. But HeroMarine obviously is just not in control of his own main, and that's a massive issue. Pushing into this is going to be costly, and Clem realizes the chance to get further ahead on upgrades. He targets down the engineering base, and they are one of the highest value targets he could find at this point. He gets the armor upgrade, which is not the best, but still better than nothing at all. I mean, these Marines are forfeits. Oh, are they going to get out? The Vikings backed away very early, as now we've got tanks sieging up the planetary fourth base. So suddenly HeroMarine's fourth is in trouble, but a Liberator shows up quickly. And HeroMarine should be able to turn this around. But Clem's dropping on the third at the same time. The mobility from Clem is definitely proven to be one of HeroMarine's weaknesses. This Liberator goes down, so the tanks will survive their positioning on the left-hand side. HeroMarine's just got Marines that don't have medevac support, and that is costly as well as it stands. He's losing a lot of Marines in these little fights, where the healer is just so powerful, especially when he's running in just a couple of Marines at a time. All of this going on, and the supplies are coming out to be oh so similar. 154 to 146. Worker count still pretty even. It's a slight army advantage and a huge upgrade advantage from Clem. That is for sure. And Clem obviously with the positional advantage too. The thing is, from HeroMarine, he's always the defender. He's done nothing to be the aggressor in this game. Clem took the position early in the game with the army, and he's kept it ever since. Or he's been the player who's in the middle of the map, so he can set up the next position before HeroMarine can set up anywhere. Vikings firing, a few medevacs taking damage. Tank's gonna fire, and a lot of these Marines going down. HeroMarine has tanks over to the right-hand side to set up as well. A few Marines moving around. Looks like we've got a lot on the bottom side that might want to go for a stim into this Clem army. And a couple tanks gonna unsiege, and just gonna see Clem pulling back up to this high ground. He's gonna survive for the moment. I mean, HeroMarine's taking a supply lead all of a sudden, but again, the lack of the 3-3 upgrades hurts. He will get +3 soon. Still missing +3 armor, and while the attack upgrade is the most important, you know, the armor upgrade will still be seen. If you see like Marine on Marine, you'll notice that Clem's Marines will just fight that much better. And see a fight breaking out here. Obviously, so much of this comes down to tanks as well, but I think Clem's just got the way better tank setup. I mean, HeroMarine has no tank setup, and he just takes the fight, which almost feels like HeroMarine just thinks he's completely dead in the game anyway, so I'm really glad this is going to Game 5, because it did feel like Clem was putting up a good fight, at least on Death Aura, and just really got caught off guard that slight little bits. I'm glad he's able to turn this around and make that a little bit different, really. I'm happy. I'm really happy about it, actually. Really kind of hyped that we get to Game 5 here, because I know there's a lot of discussion. You know, there's a lot of people like, well, you know, Clem's good, but HeroMarine's just so good. And I don't disagree with that. I think HeroMarine consistency has been really sick, but a lot of people just count Clem out every single time. It's nice to see Clem kind of fighting back a bit here, and I'd say even a 2-3 loss is, you know, shows he can put up the fight, right? I just hate, because there's also people who do it the other way around, where it's like, well, HeroMarine, is he that good? He's only won 16 open cups. Like, God. Like, didn't you see Clem? His other matchups are just great. HeroMarine just really relies on, like, TvT. Do you know what I mean? So, I like it. Go in the distance, go into 5 games. No one, you know, we can just be... Everyone can just be happy, you know? Hell yeah. As we set on up, SCV Reaper at the frontier, a couple of Reapers from HeroMarine coming through. So in base 2 Rax Reaper is the opening from HeroMarine, so a little bit pressure focused. He is going to go past 3 Reapers as well, so there's going to be a fairly decent number of Reapers on the way out to begin with. So setting up for that. Ooh, that's actually a really nice start. Clem has actually gone for this, you know, Reaper into Reactor. Oh, this is massive. He's blocking the factory from landing. Oh, okay, he got it down in the end. Yeah, blocking the factory initially is a big deal. This Reaper comes in just to drop a grenade to try and help. And obviously, Reaper wants to try and get behind SCVs, but this is such a great start here for HeroMarine. And he's going to be on 3 Reapers against, well, that was maybe a missed target, because he could have maybe targeted the Reaper down in that attempt. And then he could have maybe turned onto the Marines. Now I feel like maybe Clem gets enough up to survive, with 6 workers lost already. Big issue for sure. Oh, HeroMarine takes a fight that he actually can't win there. Thought he might have again gotten that Reaper kill. There's been a couple of times that Reaper's gone out a little bit fortunately, I'd say. Oh, Hellion goes too far forward though, and now Clem makes a micro error. HeroMarine just chases up this ramp. It'll cost him a Reaper for a Reaper. I think the Marine count is good enough, but you can't deny the 7 worker advantage you take from this. I mean, HeroMarine's already on his way to a 3rd CC. His natural was, yes, a bit later, but his orbital is actually faster because Clem just wasn't able to afford what he wanted to afford here right away, and yeah, that's a bit crazy too. Another Hellion that very nearly goes down. Of course, Clem, big army supply advantage, but not if these Reapers trade out with the Marines from a distance. I mean, beautiful micro on either side. The big advantage here, Marine, for the early stages. Reapers back through to the front. A Hellion showing up. A couple of Reapers back away. Popping down a grenade. And these Reapers actually did really well. You know, the SCVs, it feels like he's killed more than a Hellion, a Reaper, and a Marine. I mean, that was very narrow. Second Hellion, obviously a lot of these Marines are very close to going down. He really controlled the position on the map for a long time. Eight Marines up through to the top side, as you have HeroMarine just out the front. A bunker will set up as well in a moment or so, and just going to have our Hellions continuing around that right side here. Marines unloading in the main base. There's already a few SCVs going down, so 3 workers killed off. And you see the Hellions able to get through as well. I mean, this is where Clem's army supply advantage comes into play already, as he's going to get a few workers of his own, so finally try and play a bit of catch-up. But is it really comparable? It's still down by 6 workers here. HeroMarine, just that fast 3rd CC is obviously massive too, and I think Clem is going to be realizing very shortly the problem he stands in. Starport going to drop down onto Reactor here. Couple Marines gonna unload, get healed up a little bit. Everything joining as we just have Clem setting up out the front. Viking the lib on the way through. That stim pack is on the way. That's gonna be seeing our gas on the natural, so second gas being taken. And yeah, second gas on the natural being taken. I mean, HeroMarine just powers up. That 3rd CC timing is just a big difference. The Clem's gonna take his own 3rd. That's what this SCV is for, but boy, is it so far behind. That 10 worker lead. I mean, HeroMarine is like about to float this CC out into position, I think. The only reason he wouldn't is that he's a bit afraid of just how far ahead he is, that Clem's going to all in anyway. So why take the risk of taking the 3rd into location already? But Nah, why not? I mean, Clem, yeah, he's got an army coming across, but it's not even in that much of an advantage anymore. HeroMarine's got the stim pack already. Yeah, I mean, HeroMarine's just in a fantastic spot, basically. Right from the start this time around. Marines tanks all coming up through the top side here, and we do have our army of Clem wanting to come across. One tank going to set up, going to be seeing the... Oh, that tank position's brutal. Oh, HeroMarine didn't know about that tank. He drops a Matrix, but it's a really horrible start to the fight. Wow, that Matrix is then nullified, right? Because now you just don't really get any value out of it. And, well, I said the one reason you might not take this third base already is basically because of this. And it is kind of happening. Oh, nice Cyclone lock onto the Liberator. Try and get rid of that valuable unit when it comes to breaking locations. Problem is, Clem pushes the third base off location. Does that win him the game? Does that bring him back into the game? Absolutely not. He's still down 18 workers. You know, he's down 1-1 upgrades. He's about to be down combat shields. The problem is, you know, the positioning in the last game gave Clem a lot of advantages. The positioning in this game... the positioning in this game is a very different affair, that's for sure. There's a couple of these tanks coming in. Getting sieged up already. Marines looking to try and fight a little bit. He gets that tank coming through the middle of the map. A couple extra Vikings on the way from Clem, and our tanks will unsiege. Clem back around the top left-hand side. We're going to have combat shield building already in the main bases. Here we go. HeroMarine just going to pull a few SCVs into the lead in charge for this. And he's actually going to take an SCV disadvantage after this fight, but look at what he kills. Pretty much everything. All the Vikings go down. Clem's supply plummets, and now, I mean, he can retake the worker lead. Clem doesn't even try and stay in the game. He knows this counterattack is going to do it for him. GG, and it's going to be 3-2 in favor of HeroMarine in the end.